Hi, Diana Hedrick here with quiltcrafts.com, your place for sewing notions. Today we are going to continue on with the Easy Star and Geese. We started in our last video, and in the last video we went over the components for the Star and Geese. We went over the fabrics, the strips that we needed to cut. We discussed the ruler, and so this week we're going to go over the pieces have already been cut. We've cut the components here for the large geese, the small flying geese. We have some squares here that we've had to cut out that we're going to put some triangles onto. And so let's go ahead and get started. With the ruler, if you remember, the ruler here has the points cut off, so that makes it easy to line your flying geese blocks up. And there was two components that we did with this ruler. We did the center triangle, and then we did what they called the side triangle. And so this one here is, let's see, this one here is what is considered the center triangle. And these little pieces that are going to be sewn onto the side, like that, is, of course, the side triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. I'm going to take my fabric, and it's just real simple. Going to line this right up. And it has the straight edge on the top here, so we just line these two straight edges up. And I'm just going to take it over here to my sewing machine. Of course, the seam allowance is going to be 1/4 of an inch. And let's go ahead and I'll press on the presser foot here and let's get going. Okay, here we go. I'm going to sew with my 1/4 of an inch foot here. Get to the end. Hit the button there. Gonna open it up, take it over to my ironing board. Gonna iron the right side. On all my flying geese, whenever I put my flying geese all together, I sewed the same side on every single time. I sewed all the right ones on first, and now I'm gonna go back and sew all the left ones on. Now we have to remember, whenever you cut your side triangles out, you're going to have a mirror image. You're going to have two different sides here, so you want to make sure that you read the instructions on the back of your package that tells you how to cut opposite side triangles, because the right side triangle is not going to work on the left side. It's just not going to work. Here's the right side. It's going to go over here on this side. But see, if I was to take this same triangle and flip it over, you can see it's going to be, the wrong side's going to be up. So that's very important when you go to cut out your side triangles. That's only if you have a fabric that has a back on it. If you're working with the Batiks, it's the same either way, so that really doesn't matter. So now I'm going to go ahead and sew on my left side, and I'm going to line up. I've got my nice straight edge there. I'm going to line that up. I'm going to get my straight pin here, and I'm going to pin it to hold it in place, because this one here I'm going to turn it over and flip it on the other side here. And let's go ahead and start my 1/4 of an inch here, and this is the small flying geese. And then I'm going to do one of the large flying geese, because those are the components that we have. You sew a bunch of small flying geese together, a bunch of large flying geese together. I'm going to do the same thing here. I've already got it lined up. Put it in the sewing machine. I'm going to sew my 1/4 of an inch seam again. Go nice and easy. You can sew faster than this, but you know, when you're working with the points and stuff like that, you just want to take your time. I'm going to go ahead and hit my button, cut it. And now I've got two of them sewn here. And I'm going to take them over to my ironing board. And let's see, it's on. I'm going to iron that one. So as you can see, my small one here came out pretty good. I'm going to have to trim the points on the side here. Get rid of those. I'm going to iron my big one back here, the big flap. Oops. And that did not get back all the way. I'm going to turn that. Okay, and then I'm going to sew one more of these on here, and that will complete the large flying geese. Again, if you notice with the batik, it's the same on either side, so we don't have to worry as much as getting the right side on there. And I'm going to take it, since we have the nice, the tip is cut off and nice and flat there, we'll just line that up at the top. See how nice that lines up right there? And I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. Let me put a straight pin in there. It's nice if you do have fingernails, because you can always, you know, finger press this stuff back into place whenever it starts moving around on you. I'll put a couple of pins in there. Of course, the best thing to do whenever you're assembling a bunch of your blocks is to sit down, pin them all at the same time. And let's go here. Let's see here. Hold on there, I want to get this right. And that one. And that's going to take care of the large one. And let's go ahead and take it over here. Gonna iron it. Ooh, that came out real nice. And see the top? See how it's nice and straight across the top there? So all we have to do is you make up a bunch of the large ones, you do a bunch of the small ones, and we're ready to go. Now the other item that we're going to need is, of course, the square blocks, or this one right here, there, is you're going to take your squares that you cut out, and we're going to be sewing triangles on all four sides of those. So whenever I made this particular one, first I sewed on these two triangles, and then I went and sewed on these two triangles on the sides, and ironed them and pressed them, and that's how we did it. Now I want to show you something here. If you do not line your pieces up properly with the edge here, you can see, I don't know if you can see it, but whenever you go home and try it, and you're looking at the video and you start cutting these pieces out, when you go to line this up, you can see here that I did not have this corner lined up with the very corner of the blue one. The yellow corner was not lined up properly with the blue one, and so whenever that happened, you can clearly see when I got to the other side, I just have a little point here, and whenever I opened it up to sew the other piece on here, it just didn't work. So it's very important that you get this edge lined up, the side triangle lined up with your squares whenever you do that. So I've got a few of those that I made mistakes on, and because I'm not perfect, and I had to take them apart with my seam ripper, so I've been doing what we call reverse sewing. So now, after we've done our large flying geese, we've got our small flying geese, we've got the center blocks. On the small flying geese, you'll see here in the background, we are going to have these squares are going to be sewed on to the sides of our small flying geese. So let's go ahead and build the block again with the components that I have made up. For your center squares, and you're going to want to sew all the center square unit together, but you sew those together, they're done in rows. So I've already got my rows sewn together here. So you can see, so here's this row with the small flying geese, two squares, one on each end, and then the next we're going to have the center square, the two flying geese, and then we're going to have this one up here at the top with the flying geese with the two squares on it. So that's how we do that. So you want to make all your squares first. You got one here, one here. You can clearly see where all the squares are. Of course, there's one square that's going to go up there. And I think we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got a total of 9 squares that we have to assemble. And these probably have the most work in them. The rest of the work is going to be fairly simple because we're working with the large flying geese. Whenever you do the large flying geese, those are really easy, because all we're going to do is we're going to have our large flying geese. We're going to take and sew a square to it, and then we're going to have the other square on the other side. So we're going to have 2 squares. We're going to have, and this is one row that you're going to be sewing together too. So we're going to do these in rows. This is going to be one row, and I am missing a piece here. Hold on, that's going to go there. There. Got to work around my sewing machine. That one, and then we got this yellow one. And this one's going to go right here. And that's going to be the top. This here is my top row. So this is one row. You're going to sew the top row together, and then after the top row is done, then whenever you have your block sewn together, we're going to sew a block, a large flying geese, another block, another flying geese, and that's going to make your second row. And then of course we're going to go back again with the whole strip like this. We're going to go back again with a whole strip like this, and this will be your third row, and it's going to be reversed until we get to the very bottom. And the nice thing about the Easy Star and Geese pattern is that on the back side it does show the whole assembly. It shows the whole assembly of the Easy Flying Geese. It shows all the color points on how to make the pattern. It's just a real easy pattern to do. I imagine it's probably let's say a 2-day project, because you're going to spend 1 day picking out your fabrics, ironing, cutting, you know, getting them all laid out. It's very important though with this one, with having multiple colors in it like it does, and it changes the range of fabrics, where the salmon is with the yellow on this part of the star, and then the greens with the yellow. So it's very important that you line it up or lay it out real well and pin your pieces together. I pinned these blocks together whenever they were laying on my design wall, because that was the easiest way to do it. And I expect, you know, I'll have it done tomorrow. It'll probably take a whole day to sew the project. So that's it as far as the Easy Star and Geese pattern goes. I do want to talk about my pendant lamp. I've had some of you ladies out there send me some emails, send me some phone calls, post it on my Facebook wall, inquiring about my pendant lamp. And the thing that I neglected to say anything about was it is electric. Again, if you hadn't seen me take it off and put it on the last time, it's very lightweight. It weighs 7.5 ounces. There's no weight to it. You can go ahead, you push the button to turn it off. You just hold it down for a second. It does have a true color daylight bulb in it. The shade's adjustable. The strap, the strap is also adjustable. And of course, without it having any batteries, it keeps the weight of the light down. And that's one of the things. And then whenever you're, like I am with the sewing machine, if you notice, always, the light is always going to be behind my hand, and it's lightweight. It just moves with me. If you notice in the whole video, I probably, whenever I turn this way, that way, yeah, I just moved with me. So it really is a truly amazing product, and you're gonna love it. It's on my website, quiltcrafts.com, and I hope you enjoy the videos, and I will see you next time. Happy sewing! And you can like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and subscribe to my YouTube. The links are in the description below the video. Have a great day.